What's going on, Razorback fans? Curtis Wilkerson back once again inside Arkansas on the Potted Palace. This is the Hoop Hogs Video Mailbag series where essentially you ask me a question and I answer it, whether you submit those on Twitter or on the YouTube comments or wherever, anything Arkansas basketball related that you hit me with, I respond via video. We try to do one of these every single morning because fans are excited about Arkansas basketball under John Calipari, to be quite honest with you. Let's take a look at today's question we have from Cody, my man Cody. He says, out of the Frosh, who do you see having the biggest impact? And do you see any of them solidifying starter minutes by conference play? It's a really good question. I'm going to tackle them one at a time here. So out of the Frosh, who do you see having the biggest impact? And it's kind of tricky. I'm going to, This is interesting because the beauty of it is they all three impact the game in different ways. And so if I had to pick one, I might say Boogie or Carter. It's close for me. Boogie Flan for his three-point shooting and his playmaking ability. Carter Knox I think he's just more physically ready with that 6'6", 225 frame. I think that plays right away for a young guy in the SEC. And then Billy Richmond is, his defense and athleticism. I think you really have a case there to be made for all three of them. But then I think about what Arkansas needs. And maybe I lean a little bit towards Boogie Flan because I do think for Arkansas to reach its ceiling, reach its potential, you're really going to need a lot of three-point shooting out of Boogie Flan. You need percentage and you need volume because look around that roster. And that's one of the fair question marks about this team. Not can they shoot it, because you got those guys. Nelly Davis is a knockdown shooter. Brazil can shoot it. Big Z can shoot it. We'll see if guys like Thiero and Wagner can take a step forward. But for me, it's about volume. Do they have enough? Because some of these Arkansas teams in the past under Eric Musselman, it's been like, well, they haven't shot well percentage-wise, and also they're only making like 5 or 6 per game. And but the way basketball is played nowadays, it's just not good enough. You got to have some more volume there. 3 is more than 2. I mean, it's basic math. And Muss's teams used to kind of, make up for that by drawing a bunch of free throws attempted or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're going to succeed in college basketball nowadays, you got to knock down threes. And Boogie is a guy who can really, really do that. You just never know for sure how it's going to translate until it does, at the college game. If Boogie Flan is a guy who can come in and be a consistent three-point shooter for Arkansas while also being a playmaker, serving as a table setter and a facilitator, I think he could be the guy who ultimately has the biggest impact. Carter Knox, one that I'm really excited about. Again, because of his frame, because I love his ability to create his own offense. But then I think about the needs of the team. And yeah, I mean, you can never have too many guys who can go get you a bucket. But when it's crunch time, chances are the rock's going to be in Nelly Davis's hands, right? And he's going to be one who's able to create. Can Carter Knox stand in the corner then if there's a kick out and be ready to catch and shoot and drill those threes? I think he's got that in him. Boogie might be a safer bet for that right now. So I've talked myself in, Cody, to Boogie Flan being an answer to the question of who's going to have the biggest impact. And your second question was, do you see any of them, the freshmen, solidifying starter minutes by conference play? And this is where it gets interesting because John Calipari is going to start at least one freshman out of the gates. I mean, I would be absolutely floored if he didn't. And if I'm calling Boogie Flan the guy who I think is going to have the biggest impact, well, then I should just go with Boogie Flan as a starter, right? Wrong. I'm not going to do that. Why? Because John Calipari started DJ Wagner over both Rob Dillingham and Reed Shepherd last season. So I'm supposed to believe until I see it that he's not going to start a sophomore DJ Wagner who averaged 10 points per game in the SEC over Boogie Flan coming into this season. I just think that's the way it's going to be. So I think immediate starter, or maybe they both play starter minutes, but the immediate starter, in my opinion, would be Carter Knox. I think it just works out positionally on the wing if you got DJ and Nelly Davis and Carter Knox there, unless they wanted to start Thiero at the 3 and Brazil at the 4 and kind of go with a jumbo experience lineup. I think Carter Knox is going to get the nod there, and we'll see. But again, it's because he's physically ready. 6'6", 225. The SEC is such a physical league, and I think his frame, his body, is going to be prepared to handle that right out of the gates. Boogie Flan, ultra talented, but he's, 6'2", 170, 175-ish. There's going to be a little bit of an adjustment period there. And they've been practicing against each other all summer, so that's fine. That's something Boogie talked about in the press conference after summer workouts, was adjusting to the toughness and the physicality of the league. That's going to take a little bit more time for him with that frame, and he's still got plenty of time to add on strength. But I think Knox is the guy right away. And I think Boogie is the guy that just keeps coming on stronger and stronger and stronger over the course of the season. And yeah, by SEC play, he's probably really ready to rock there. But then, Billy Richmond, I'm just fascinated to see what happens there, because I've said it before. I always just kind of assumed, well, he's probably that ninth guy in the ninth man rotation, maybe the least heralded of the newcomers and the freshmen, which is weird to say because he was a 5-star by multiple recruiting services. He's a really good player. But he's a little bit of a wild card to me. And I think he's better than I initially gave him credit for. I know Coach Cal and that staff really like him. He's 6'5", 6'6", super long, crazy athlete, and a ready-made defender. I think he's a guy who's switchable, can guard 3 spots on the floor right now in the SEC. But the dude is a human highlight. Every time Arkansas men's basketball Twitter puts out a practice clip, it seems like Billy Richmond is in it, dunking on somebody or catching a lob, something. So I think he's going to have maybe a larger role than I even anticipated there. On the wing is a guy that can play the 2 or the 3. Probably wouldn't drop him down beyond that unless you're playing super small ball. And I think it plays defensively. The question with him will be, can he shoot it well enough to be respected out there? And Cal said as much in the press conference, where it was, hey, can he shoot it well enough from 3? Because if you have to guard him and you have to do a hard closeout on the perimeter, he's going to go right by you and get to the rim because he's that gifted of an athlete and a slasher there. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see. These are 3 really good, really talented freshmen. And I'm anxious to see those guys get out there on the floor and represent the Razorbacks. So appreciate the question, Cody. As always, I hope you're doing well, my man. And to everybody else, hey, keep the questions coming. Like I said, submit them however you want. I've got a pinned thread there on my X profile at Kurt Wilkerson _ if you want to drop a question in there. The YouTube comments of these videos, you want to throw a question there, that's fine. Hit me with a DM. If I see it, I will 100% get to it. We're trying to have one of these every day until we get to basketball season. They come out about 8 o'clock every morning. So make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube channel, Inside Arkansas, to catch up with all those. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pod at the Palace. Catch you guys again.